Here's a God honest truth. Most entrepreneurs don't fail because they aren't talented. They fail because they don't know how to prioritize the right moves. And in this video, I'm gonna give you the exact principles that took my business from $10,000 a month to now doing 7 figures every month. When scaling a business, these principles are gonna be the foundation of what's gonna drive you from that 5-figure month, 6-figure month, 7-figure month, and beyond. Now, in this video, I'm gonna break down every single principle that helped me really get to that next step month over month, year over year. Which leads me to the first principle. Many people know how to make money, but a lot of people don't know how to deploy it. Now, to give you guys an example, when I first started off my entrepreneurship journey, I wanted to do anything and everything. I was doing 4, 5, 6, 7 different things at a time till I started realizing, I'm like, okay, well, opportunity 1, 2, and 3 is making me significantly more than opportunity 4 and 5. Now, this sounds crazy, right? Because doing 7 different things at once is not optimal at all. I was really young. I started my entrepreneurship journey around 17, 18 years old. So I didn't really know much. Now, over the years, I learned that you need to prioritize what makes you money and then push forward on that service, right? So if, let's say, your business offers 4 different services, but service 1 and 2 is way more time intensive and your margin's way lower on that, but it is an easy service for you to do, opposed to service 3 and 4 that costs you a lot less, has higher margin, and it's a lot more replicatable. I'm not saying get rid of service 1 and 2. I'm just saying that, hey, look, put all your efforts on service 3 and 4, or at least put 70% of your efforts on effort 3 and 4. That way you can make way more money on the back end, and you always have to re-identify which services or what opportunities are best suited for you. Whether that's adding more staff to your team, whether that's getting SOPs, whether that's automating stuff or buying back your time so you could do that service and push out that service way better. Principle number 2. Now, tying this back into what we spoke about in principle number 1, you have to constantly be reinventing yourself. If you're not reinventing yourself every 6 to 12 months, you're falling behind. And the truth is that most of these really successful entrepreneurs, they constantly audit their work. They're constantly trying to see other weaknesses, other areas that they can improve on. This is what I like calling the reinvention phase. And this phase you never really grow out of. This phase you just always do from step 1 to 3 to 4 to 5, and that could be years, right? Or any other business venture you're gonna get into. And you're gonna realize that the more you reinvent yourself, the better you're doing, because the better you're gonna be, because you're essentially perfecting said service or said business consistently. Even before an issue arises, you wanna make sure you get ahead of it. You wanna find out leaks. You always wanna look at this, or okay, look, this was a great month. A lot of our customers like this. What can we do to make it better? What were some of the hiccups or the speed bumps along the way that made us lose some of our conversion or profitability, right? What are we spending too much money on? What are we spending too much time on? What can we do to make this more effective, right? What's the longevity gonna be like? And if you consistently have that mindset of reinventing yourself every 6 to 12 months, you're gonna be golden, because at the end of the day, the more times you pivot in the same exact direction, you're essentially just climbing up. Look, you're gonna have high and lows all the time, right? But you wanna make sure that it's a consistent growth up. And that's only gonna happen through consistently auditing your said service or business to ensure the utmost quality, because that's how your competitors get ahead of you. That's why I say, if you don't reinvent yourself every 6 to 12 months, you're falling way behind, because your competitors are already 6 to 12 months ahead of you, because they were able to take a step back and analyze their own business model and see what can be done or what can be improved on or added to said service. For example, Jeff Bezos, right? He started off as a bookstore. Now, yes, he accumulated a lot of success because he was one of the first online bookstores that were very efficient. Everyone was able to order books online. Now, what did he do? He went around and asked all his friends, hey, look, what can we do better, right? What's the next step? What's better than an online bookstore? And one of his friends simply said, a store that you could buy everything. And he's like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, mind you, the intricacies on him creating said platform to be able to provide everything and make it efficient and profitable is very, very hard, which is why he's at where he's at now, right? One of the top 3 most richest individuals ever. Now, he just used that principle of reinventing himself. Now, he reinvented himself multiple times within a year, probably 10 times within a year. Even when he started off with that success of the online bookstore, which was Amazon, that after that first one success, he immediately started asking questions like, okay, well, what else can we do, right? Because this isn't the end all be all. Sure, we have all the success right now, but where's the next couple steps? What's the next phase to go from here? And that right there yielded direct results and profitability for him, which then he got shareholders, he got investors, and then, Amazon became what it is now, which is a global Goliath in every single industry, whether it's household goods, whether it's technology, whether it's, let's call it office wear, anything. Now, the next principle number 3, is something that a lot of people have wrong. A lot of people think success is sexy. It's really not. Success is very unattractive. And the reason I say that is because of the things that you have to do to become successful. Now, being successful is very, very boring. What do I mean by that? You have to have a constant routine. Now, that routine is going to consist of the same exact things over and over and over again, day in, day out, from Monday through Sunday. You're going to have the same exact routine for a set period of time till you reinvent yourself and move on to the next phase, or you add another system, or you add another hire, whatever the case might be, in what section of your entrepreneurial journey you're in. Now, why is this principle number 3? The main point of this is to be consistent. If you aren't consistent and you aren't okay doing the boring things first, then you aren't going to make it to the fun times where you can't afford to delegate a lot of the work and be on a yacht having a cigar on a random Tuesday. Right? You have to do all the boring work first and be consistent. Make sure you structure out your life to where you're consistently moving the needle. And that's only going to come from doing the boring stuff first. Trust me, all that fun stuff is going to come after. But first, you got to earn your keep. Right? Not everyone goes from 0 to 100 on their first business venture. Most entrepreneurs fail the first couple times, and that's perfectly fine. Now, many of you don't know this or haven't heard this before, but 20% of the work gets you 80% of the result. Now, what does this mean? It just means that your 20% input in said task is really going to yield you to 80% of the results. Now, how do you get this done? Very, very simple. This is only going to come to when you're in this phase of your business where you're able to hire out, delegate, and create structure for other individuals to take care of that 80% of the work. Now, what does that mean? This can be very simple, right? If you're the CEO and you're the one that's the engine in the business where you're driving the business to rapid growth, and your time is best spent nurturing relationships, meeting new individuals, going to networking events, going to conferences, taking one-off meetings, that 20% of the work, landing a big client that's going to pay you 6-7 figures in a year or in a month, is going to yield you 80% of the work, because all you had to do was land said client. And once you have a built out team, that team will take care of that 80% of the work. So in turn, your 20% your 20% work took care of the 80%, which yielded the results. Now, that's only possible once you create SOPs and have a structure for your team to follow, because without that, you're going to be split in multiple different directions and it's just not going to work out. A lot of people are focused on doing it all, and they don't realize that it actually hurts you way more than it helps you. Because think about it, if you had to spend 100% of your time on fulfilling the service or the product, where is the growth? How are you going to be able to rapidly grow when you're tied down to fulfillment? Fulfillment is one of the biggest issues when it comes to service-based businesses or product-based businesses. If you could just land said client, then tie all that work down to your team, and your team is efficient and effective on delivering, then you could continue going to the next client, the next client, the next client, and keep driving business towards your organization. That way you keep prospering forward and having that rapid growth. That's the only way that you're going to be able to grow month over month over month consistently. And now you're going to have bad months, right? You're going to have months where you don't deliver. But guess what? You've already driven so much business towards your organization that you have so much back end work that your team is handling that now, even if you have an off day, you could actually just take a step back, go review with the team, be in the business, operate with them, and then go back once you're refreshed. Now, talking about being the engine in your business when it comes to landing clients and becoming more efficient on workload being diverted to your team, your next big success could be hiding in a conversation you haven't even had yet. What does that mean? You got to take every single meeting that you can that's in your industry. Meet all the big players, even the small players, because guess what? You can learn something from everybody. Now, don't be shy. I get it. It's very, very intimidating to take a bunch of meetings with people that you've never met before. Or you may even have to take a dinner or a coffee or whatever the case might be with individuals you've never even spoken to, right? Like I've had a lot of business come in from, for example, LinkedIn. So personally, right, we post a lot of content on LinkedIn, and I respond to absolutely anybody and everybody that messages me on LinkedIn. So if you guys message me, I will reply. And even on the off chance that someone's in a different part of the industry that I'm currently operating in and they want to have a meeting, I take the meeting. right? You never feel like you're too good to take a meeting or that's going to waste your time. Now, mind you, there will come a time where your time is so valuable that you really shouldn't be taking those one-off meetings. But when you're trying to rapidly grow your business, you need to be able to be included in all these conversations and all these meetings, because you don't know if that person in an unrelated industry actually need your service. Remember, people don't know what they need till they hear you out and see what you offer. And even then, sometimes that one-off meeting that you have could spark a whole new idea for a service that you can offer, right? Never say no to an opportunity that you can yield fruit from and benefit and help someone along their journey. Even if it's something you currently don't do, right? If you're having a conversation, it sparks an idea. I'm like, well, you know what? Actually, I can do that. And we actually can help you out. It's not something that we currently do, but guess what? We can build something out for you because we can see that it's gonna be very fruitful for you. And in turn, it's gonna help us build a whole new service that we could, push out to other clients. And we think that everyone's gonna benefit from it. Picking up on the last principle, if you don't know your next 5 moves, you're ready in checkmate. And these are one of the things that I just picked up recently in the last year from Patrick with David. You guys haven't seen him before. Great guy, great content creator. He's a great businessman. He's got a lot of advice. I definitely recommend for you guys to check him out. Now, by not having your 5 moves in place, you're kind of already losing. Why? Because you're not seeing far ahead. Now, imagine if you're driving a car with your headlights off. Hey, it's pretty reckless. You're most likely to get into an accident or take a stop sign or take a red light, whatever the case may be, or even hit something that's on the road because you're not seeing far enough. Your job as an entrepreneur is to avoid those speed bumps or be prepared for said speed bumps or roadblocks that come along the way. Now, by you planning out your next 5 moves, this is going to help you prevent losses and prevent one-off situations that you weren't really prepared for. Right now, these next 5 moves don't only entail business moves. This entails relationship, financials, projections, the whole 9, right? What I mean by that is you want to have your next 5 moves in almost every category in your life, right? So my business, okay, where's my business going to be in the next 5 months? And from month to month, which move do I need to implement, right? Once we set this target and we hit this target, what's the next move? And you need to have this in order, because what's going to happen is this going to stunt your growth, right? 'Cause let's say you set a target, but you didn't set the next move after that target. You're going to hit that target and then you're going to have to stop. You're going to have to pause. Okay, now what do I do? No. You should have already pre-planned this. And the same thing happens with one of our principles where we spoke about capital allocation. If you don't have your 5 moves or your 10 moves, 15 moves set apart, you're not going to know what to do when you hit certain financial goals. You want to make sure that you're very efficient for rapid growth. That's why these 8 principles are so important, because this is setting you up for success, and it's going to take some time. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy. You need to do a lot of preparedness, a lot of preparing, a lot of planning, a lot of structuring out what you're going to be doing for the year to come. But trust me, this is really going to help you move the needle month over month. Principle number 7. Now, tying this back to principle number 6 on your next 5 moves, you need to understand what you're good at and what you're bad at. Because when you're planning ahead, when you're doing your next 5 moves, 10 moves, 15 moves, whatever the case might be, you need to start realizing that, hey, look, what is my time best spent doing? Now, what am I bad at? What can I delegate, right? Because the only way that you could have rapid growth is going to be by delegating tasks that you aren't good at, right? So if your business is in that profitable position where you can afford to hire out a bigger team or hire individuals for a set task, do that almost immediately, because you need to be, putting pressure and putting your foot towards the gas on the skill set that you're best at. That way you don't waste your time on doing things that you really struggle with doing, because 1, it probably takes you twice as long to do it because it's not something you're good at, or 2, you have a terrible time doing it and then it messes up your headspace and you're not able to do that other task or that main role that you should be doing as a CEO or owner or entrepreneur, whatever the case might be, to fuel the business and drive it forward. So now for this principle number 7, you want to make sure that you have a key hire every step of the way to delegate as much work as humanly possible that it's best suited for someone else and not you. There's going to be a lot of people that are way better at organizational skills or creating SOPs or management or hiring people, whatever the case might be. Naturally, a normal trait for an entrepreneur is that we're very sporadic. We are not organized at all. Now, That may not be the case for you, but I can tell you it's definitely was the case for me. So for me, one of my key hires was having an executive assistant. That was one of the first things I did once the business was doing really well, because I needed someone to organize all my files, all my meetings, all my emails in order for me to do what I was best at, which was driving the business forward by acquiring more clients or growing certain relationships that would bring in new opportunity that would really move the needle in the business. Now, you need to make this a priority, because if you want rapid growth, you cannot ignore this principle. Now, if you guys are watching this video, chances are you're trying to grow your business. Now, just do me one favor, and in reality, you're doing a bunch of people a favor by doing this. Drop one principle that you've currently applied to your business that has helped you scale or get to that next step. Now, we want to create a community of like-minded entrepreneurs that are constantly helping each other out. Now, if maybe there's a different principle that I didn't name here, drop your own principle down in the comments. That way other people can read that and be like, okay, well, that's actually a really good idea and I need to implement that because that's currently where I'm at. That'd be great for everyone else to help each other out. Now, I think I left the best for last. For principle number 8, success leaves clues. What does this mean? This means that a lot of people are so focused on reinventing the wheel and creating a whole new product, a whole new service that's never existed before, when all they need to do is pay attention to the other individuals that are very successful in that niche or in that industry. I promise you, you could re-engineer or reinvent what they're currently doing. They already have a blueprint. There's no reason why you need to create a whole entire new product that's never ever existed. Now, if you're an inventor, beautiful, that's great for you, but I promise you that if you look at other participants in the industry, you can take a lot from them. Now, with that said, success leaves clues. So you need to leverage your current relationships that you have in said industry to build upon them, because they already set the groundwork for you, right? You may know an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, whoever may be, or even someone from the gym, right? That's already been in that industry for, let's call it 5 years, but you just entered the market right now. Guess what? In those 5 years, they've established so many relationships already. They've had so many different meetings, calls, experiences. You can go pick their brain about it, or even just take them out for a coffee, right? Speak to them about it. See what you can learn from them. Ask them what their trials and tribulations have been like, right? What have been, your top 3 successes? What have been your top 3 downfalls? And go from there. And then just by getting that input from individuals that have already been in the industry for years and years, you're going to be able to learn on what to do and what were the set points that they were able to avoid that now you're going to be able to avoid in order to succeed. Now, that's very, very important. That's why I say this principle is one of the most important ones. And now, if you're watching this video and you're an entrepreneur, you haven't even started a business yet, it's just an idea, I would love for you to take this principle and reinvent it and break the framework out of it and essentially say, okay, well, great. I want to start a business, but I have no idea what business I want to start. Look around you. Who do you know? Who do you have access to in a certain industry that can help you get started or propel you forward? Because that's going to be one of the biggest differentiators. That's why when I tell all my friends or colleagues, I'm like, hey, look, you need to understand where you're really at in the pecking board. If you enter a market or an industry where you have zero connections, you know absolutely no one, you have no leverage, it's going to be very, very hard. Opposed to if you would have entered a market that you already had a couple participants in there where they could tell you and steer you in the right direction or give you a lot of tips in order to get you to where you want to get to a lot faster. And it's very, very important to use people's previous experiences to fuel your current journey and ensure that you start off better than what they did. Every entrepreneur loves helping each other out for the most part. So why not leverage this to the best of your ability? So guys, if you guys enjoyed this video so far and you can't wait to see other content in this related field, click right here for the most recent uploaded video that we have had in this market. Now, if you want to follow through the journey and see what else is to come, please click subscribe here. See you on the next video.